Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space for all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Monday. We actually have a thought piece scheduled to drop this upcoming Monday, so definitely be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available wherever podcasts are playing, and we provided you with access to a few links down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. I am not that great at growth strategy, but if you like what it is that we're putting out, and if it is of benefit to you, then definitely join in. Let's get into it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's topic of discussion is mental health. On the conversation on mental health, I'm going to be talking about our relationship with failure and how it plays into our sense of mental health, how we feel and how we experience failure, and how we interpret our own failures is going to be directly correlated to how healthy we feel, or is going to be directly correlated to our mental health and how we maintain and sustain our mental health. And so failure is part of life, right? Failure is part of the lived experience, and it is often in experiencing failure that we learn, that we grow, and that we can challenge some of the conventions, some of the norms, some of the beliefs that are limiting us. It is often in the face of failure that we look at ourselves and we can think about ourselves critically and how we're showing up and how we can change. But that's if we recognize failure for what it is, which is it's a stepping stone. It's a tool in the toolkit of life, of growth and development and evolution, which is something we all want or should want for ourselves. And often, if it is the case that we're stretching, if we're trying, then we're also going to be failing, because if we're going beyond our comfort zone, if we're navigating an uncertainty, we're most certainly not always going to get it right. And I think that oftentimes it is this desire to be performant that really hinders our ability to learn, because in learning, we need to embrace failure. Failure is part of the learning process. And when people say fail often, fail frequently, fail bravely or boldly, they're really talking about learning, right? Because when you're learning experientially, especially, you're learning through the failures. You're learning not just what to do, but what not to do. And the best ways to learn what not to do is through failure, because it has this emotional aspect to it that makes it solidify as a memory that then really integrates into the core of how we navigate in those specific areas in life. And so I think that our relationship with failure is very important. It is not an identity statement. We are not ever failures. We're growing. We're works in progress. We're going to be works in progress until our last breath in this existence, and I think that I am all for it. I don't want to live in a safety bubble. I don't want to live bubble wrapped, essentially, like protected from the exposure that comes with failure, because I don't want it to define me. I allow my failures to define the steps that I take and the steps that I will continue to take moving forward, and that's what failures are. And it is often when it is the case that we allow ourselves to build identity around failure that it becomes very crippling, and it becomes the reason why we don't push forward. It becomes the reason why we start playing safe, or we start playing to other people's expectations rather than holding ourselves to our own expectations, or playing to other people's visions and building building to other people's hopes, dreams, and desires rather than building into our own. And so I think that it's really very important that we think about failure and the role that failure has played. Really cultivate a deeper perspective into the role that failure has played in your life and appreciate it, because failure has been the best teacher that any of us could have ever asked for. And it is in the failures that I've experienced in life where I've cultivated the deepest sense of gratitude, whether that was failures in my relationships, failures in the trajectories that I took on my different learning paths, failures that I've experienced in my career, failures that I've experienced with some of the projects that I was growing, that I was developing, that I've been growing and been developing. I've experienced failures in almost every facet of my life, and that's because I've been pushing, and I've been trying, and I've been focusing, and I've been trying to grow and heal in all of these relationships. And part of that process involves failing and also adjusting my own relationship with failure, because as we all know, for those of you who've been here for a while, I am a surviving perfectionist. I am someone who really didn't have a high threshold for my own failure. I wanted to show up perfectly because I thought that if I showed up perfectly, then I could be the kind of person that people wanted to be in proximity to. But I've recognized throughout life, if people need you to be perfect for them to feel inclined to be around you, then those probably aren't your kinds of people, because you can't live authentically if you're living through this facade of perfection. And I want real relationships, right? And real relationships are messy. They involve evolution. They involve forgiveness. They involve compassion. So many of these other emotions, these human emotions that often are under practice because a lot of us are operating under this guise of perfectionism. And so I dropped perfectionism a long time ago. My life has taken so many twists and turns that failure in and of itself has really played a huge significant role in, because when you're pushing, when you're living your best life, you're often failing fairly boldly, right? And you're failing very publicly, like there's a huge audience involved in it. But then when you pick up, that's also publicly as well, and people are hopefully going to recognize your growth and your transformation. But most importantly, you're going to recognize and you're going to bear witness to your own growth, transformation, and evolution through the learning tool that is failure. So I'm here to really advocate for failure. I want to champion failure so that we can all learn to embrace it and to recognize that it's not a defining characteristic. It is a stepping stone. It is a milestone that we experience iteratively as we keep pushing through the things in life that are keeping us from the goals and dreams and aspirations that we want in life. And that's because they're teaching us the things that we need to learn to enable our becoming, because oftentimes it is in achieving the goal that we become the person that we need to be to carry that goal once we get there, because it involves character development that often we overlook when we think about the future state and all of that it entails. We fail to often recognize that we ourselves will need to be different. We couldn't possibly stay who we are now to carry this future state. We will become what the future state requires of us. And it is in that relay and in focalizing on that vision that we recognize that the process of becoming involves this process of failure. And in manifesting, people often talk about it like as this, mystical affair. But no, when you're visualizing, when you're goal setting, when you're pushing towards your goals, you're shifting and changing in response to it in ways that you couldn't possibly identify other than in hindsight. But it's with that visualization and with that focus and with that attention and with the consistency and with that discipline and with that determination that you find yourself becoming bit by bit the kind of person who will carry the vision into fruition and will have the influence and have the social capital in order to allow other people to be positively influenced by those changes as well. So that's what I'm here to talk about. Some food for thought for you. Hopefully it is helpful to you. If you've retained nothing else from this talk, retain this. Failure is important. Failure is your friend. Failure is part of your toolkit, and you need to use it. You need to use it often. You need to use it frequently to enable and support your own becoming. So thank you so much again for your time and attention. As it relates to my stalking situation, no information for you as yet, but you will be the first to know when I do. If you want to learn more about some of the self-mastery conversations that we have on my own digital platform, I have an entire website committed to it, then definitely meander over to the website, check out our live events, and hopefully I'll see you in one of our self-mastery courses. We'll talk to you very soon.